Hey guys, so I'm at home, one of the rare times I'm at home right now, and I've been thinking a lot about the hotshot trucking business and trucking in general lately. It's May of 2023. There's still, always guys wanting to get into the business, and the question is hotshot or is the trucking business worth it right now? I can't answer that question for you, but I can kind of give you some insight of what's going on now to what was going on a year and a half ago. So I'm going to run some basic numbers with you guys. And a year and a half ago when I was running, and I hadn't even been running that long. I'm sorry for the dogs barking in the background. Let me see if I can't get away from them a little bit. They're being rambunctious. I'm not going to say easily, but I was averaging about $8,000 a week. Now I had plenty of 9,000, some 10,000, over 10,000 weeks, but it was not that hard realistically for me to do a solid $8,000 a week. Now I'm going to use basic operating costs, kind of current. My operating costs were actually a little less then because the cost for tires, the cost for everything was less then. But I'm going to use a basic operating cost of about 70 cents a mile. I'm sorry, 77 cents a mile. And then a fuel cost based off 9 miles to the gallon. And at the time, about $2.85 a gallon, okay? So back then I was doing 8 grand a week, running about 2,800 miles, okay? That gave me an average all in of about $2.85 a mile. Fuel was about $2.85 a gallon ish, plus or minus. So at 2,800 miles, $2.85 a mile, 2,800 miles, I had $2,100 in direct overhead, another $900 in fuel, gave me about 3 grand. So $8,000 a week minus 3 grand in operating costs gave me $5,000, believe it or not, for paying for profit, okay? Now those numbers are a little skewed because it actually cost me a little less, right? But let's just use those numbers. Now, 2023, I'm averaging about $7,000 a week. Okay, still all right, except I've got to run 3,200 miles to do that. Well, 7,000 divided by 3,200 gives me an all-in of about $2.19 a mile, okay? It sucks. 32, we'll use the same $2,100 for my overhead, which might even be a little bit more than that. It's skewed. Fuel, we're going to use an average of $3.50 a gallon. It gives me $1,250 a week in fuel for a total cost of $33.50. You take that from the 7K, and that's $3,650 left over for pay and profit. Again, those numbers aren't exactly right. It's probably a little worse than that, and before it was probably a little better, but still, $5,000 a week pay and profit a year and a half ago, $36.50 now. That's a difference of $1,350 a week. Realistically, it's probably $1,500, maybe even more than that. But even at $13.50 a week, 4 weeks a month, although there's some 5-week months, 10 months out of the year, that's $54,000. Realistically, it's probably closer to 70, but 54,000, 60 grand pay cut between a year and a half ago and now. Okay, so that's running a CDL setup. Before I could only scale 16,000 at most. Now I'm easily scaling 18,000 with an air ride trailer, so I have an even better setup and I'm doing worse. So is it worth it to get into hotshot trucking? Well, I just took a $60,000 a year pay cut, guys. I might get about 100 grand this year, maybe. Okay, and oh wow, that's $100,000. Yeah, it's $100,000 running 6 days a week. Okay, I run 3,200 miles. I get home, if I'm really lucky, late Friday night. Usually it's Saturday. I get my 34 in. I'm taking off on Sunday. Okay, I'm never home. When I am home on the weekends, I've got to do all my maintenance, and I just have to run to try to make it worthwhile. For me, it's not worth it anymore, guys. Am I quitting hotshot? I might be, okay? I have a potential job offer going back working on equipment as a mechanic. It's what I've done all my life. That will probably pay me about the same, maybe even more, depending on if this job comes through or not. And I'll get to be home every night. I'll have my weekends, you know. When I close the door on my service truck, I don't have to worry about it anymore, you know. There is no closing the door on your HOTSHOT rig, man. When you get out of the truck, you're still worried about it. So is it worth it for me? No, it's not. No. Yeah, the dogs. What are you doing? Yeah. Anyway, is it worth it for me? Not so much anymore, little bastards. Now, for someone else who lives in a different area, maybe the jobs are only paying 50 grand a year, 60 grand a year if you're lucky, or something like that, and you can go out and bust ass and make yourself 100. Well, for you, it might be worth it. Okay, for you guys going out non-CDL, keep in mind, you know, I'm busting ass and I'm getting 7 grand. You guys are going to be doing 4, if you're really lucky, maybe 5. And guess what? Your operating costs aren't much different than mine. So if you're only getting 5 grand a week, and your operating cost is $3,650, maybe a little less because you have less in fuel and a few things, you know, that's only going to leave you about 2.5 grand a week coming in for pay and for profit. Well, Ron, I can still do almost 100 grand a year on that. Maybe. So guys, just be a little bit cautious jumping into this. Your own situation is going to dictate if it's worth it for you. For me, if this other job comes through, I'm done. You know, I'm done for at least 5 years. Okay, why 5 years? Because this other job's going to be a union job, and I have to have 5 years in to get vested so I can get, you know, some of that pension. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying go into it with your eyes open, and that's it. So guys, as always, like, subscribe, ask me a question, tell me I'm wrong, do whatever you want. Just make sure when you're jumping into the trucking industry that you go in again with your eyes open, with real numbers, not the fantasy numbers that guys are presenting on Facebook and all that crap. So be safe. We'll see you next time, guys. Thank you.